A conservative and a liberal walk into a bar. What happened next was quite surprising. This ain't no joke.
Try to see me there.
I'm Jamie Allman.
I'm Judy Diamond, and this is the Allman Diamond Experience.
Compromise is fair.
We're back.
Hello, Jamie. And if you're new to this show, thank you. We have some new subscribers, by the way.
Oh, good. Welcome.
We are with iHeartMedia, and Jamie Allman has a show that is called The Patriot.
Yes, it's the station is called The Patriot, and the show is Allman in the Morning.
Yeah, and then I am on a classic hit station that is also on the app. So just download the free iHeartRadio app. You could listen to both of our shows. Look up Jamie Allman or Judy Diamond, Judy with an I. And of course, you can listen to this podcast for free.
Yes.
Jamie and I differ in a lot of ways, and yet I think we have finding in our, 12th show, the 13th, I don't even know yet, that we have more similarities.
Yes.
So it's kind of like, our country's divided. How do we get united?
And we converge in a lot of ways in our curiosity, which is also important for learning. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I think makes the relationship that we have on the podcast so great, is because we're both curious enough to want to hear what the other one has to say, and curious to hear what kind of info you might have that would wow me anyway, and usually you do. So
and vice versa.
It's amazing.
It's amazing how we could make actual compromises. Hello, Washington. Are you listening?
And the added benefit is we like each other.
Exactly.
Which happens.
Right.
And so that's great.
And what I like about it is that we don't want to yell at each other. We're actually listening. On that note, we were doing a lot of more politics and religion, but I want to do just something fun.
Okay. Judy's the kind of person sometimes who will say, I'm going to ask you a question, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. And I'm like, all right, I'm good. Did
you do improv when you were in high school or something?
I did. Well, no, I did theater.
Okay.
Yeah, I started the drama club at U City High.
This is like improv.
Okay,
so I
good.
love improv.
Oh,
it's fun.
perfect.
I'm gonna throw stuff at you, and you're gonna have to do this to me because I
I'm
love
good about
when somebody
that.
does. Okay. So we were doing this on the KLOU show, which, by the way, Jamie and I can't listen to each other because we're both morning drive.
Right.
So we have to listen to each other on the podcast.
Right.
But Bailey, my co-host, came up with it. I loved it. He said, if there was one thing that you lost and could get back, not some person, because obviously I would say my sisters or something, a thing that you wanted back from any time before now, what would it be?
Oh.
So Billy's answer, and think about it for a second. We had overnight to think about it. I'm giving you minutes. So Billy, my co-host, answer was actually kind of, he thought it was materialistic, but the story behind it was beautiful. It was a pea coat. His dad was in the Navy. And when he was like 20-something, young 20, his dad gifted it to him. Well, when you're 20-something, you lose things. And so he came over a couple of years later saying, hey, where's that pea coat? And he said, I lost it. And he was so sad. And then he lost his dad a few years later. Mm-hmm. So to me, like if he had that pea coat back, that would have been amazing. I said something that was non-tangible, but not necessarily, depending on what you believe in. And I said, I want which I kind of have, but I want more of it, the innocence of just looking at the world as if it's my playground.
Yeah.
I'm 5. I want all that back. And have not the worries of the real world.
Yeah.
Which isn't really real.
Well, yeah, the world where you're sitting in the passenger seat of the car of your mom or dad and you're just kind of watching the world go by.
Yes.
Yeah.
And making up stories of the people that live in the houses on the side of the road and just enjoying every moment.
I actually recovered some of that because one of my favorite things to do would go to my grandma's house on Christmas Eve, and she lived in Overland. We lived in New City.
So this is by the way, if you're listening in Europe, which we do have listeners in Europe, this is a Midwest town in the state of Missouri.
Yes.
Look it up because a lot of people don't know about it.
And it was an interesting town because it was a town where people, like where I was, nobody decorated their yards. Like nobody had like plastic lighted Santas or manger scenes. They had lights and things like that.
Was it just conservative?
No, I just think they just weren't like, I don't know what it was. Maybe they were too good for it. It probably was, part of it was too that I lived when I was a little. U City was predominantly Jewish, so we didn't see a whole lot of Christmas lights.
Oh, well, that explains
you know what I'm saying?
It. Yeah.
So,
I think I was the only Jew on my block that had Christmas lights. Yeah. So there you go.
But my parents never really decorated except for just having some of these big bulb lights on there. But I would drive we'd go to my grandma's house, and through Overland, everybody had all the plastic lighted Santas and the Noels and the angels and the manger scenes.
We
and
need our harpist.
Santa on the rooftop.
Over the river to grandmother's house. And
I said to myself when I was a kid then, I said, someday I'm going to do that. And now I have the largest collection of Santa blow molds of anywhere in the land. There are no more vintage Santa, plastic lighted Santas that could possibly exist.
How big are these? I mean,
they can be as big as you, or they can be little smaller ones. And I have a whole manger scene.
Where do you put these things?
On my front lawn.
But where do you put them when it's not your...
In my garage.
Oh, my God. And you park your car's not in there?
And my favorite one was when I was able to get my... At Santa Claus Calling. Oh,
that was my son, Leo.
To thank me for promoting him all the time every Christmas.
My son, Leo, was calling because I never call my kids. Isn't that horrible? I know. He's like, Mom, you should call. You should be like most moms. Okay, we'll call
We
him
try.
back. I know.
Tell Leo hello.
Oh, he's so cute.
He's a wonderful guy.
He does our music and the thing. Anyway.
So my crowning achievement was getting the Santa that I had on the rooftop with all the reindeer and stuff like that. So I kind of recovered that. But to your question, I think that, speaking of Christmas, I think one thing that would be fun to have back would be the keys to my plastic handcuffs that I got when I was like 7, when I got a cowboy set. So I had
Jamie Allman's in the handcuffs.
I had the handcuffs and the gun and the hat, and I lost the keys to the handcuffs the very morning because I went outside to play. And I'm telling you, sometimes I go back to my neighborhood and wonder. I know those keys are right under this tree. I know they're there. I know they're there
somewhere.
But more sentimentally, I think I would love to have my dad's Tissot watch back, which disappeared because it was stolen from my car. Oh. And it was this vintage 1960s, beautiful blue faced, kind of ocean blue faced, or I guess it's coral blue faced Tissot watch, Tissot.
Okay.
And I had it redone. Had it fixed
Somebody
and everything
melted
else.
It down.
It had the Twist-O-Flex band on it. And the reason why I love that watch so much is because that would be the watch that I would play around with when I was sitting on my dad's lap. Or when I saw him doing something, I would play around with it, and I would always play with it as a kid. And so the fact that I got it back after he passed away and then lost it again, that was the one thing that really tied me physically to him in that way.
I wonder if you could hire like one of those forensic psychiatrists, what are they called? The psychics? Who they could find things.
Yeah, like at a pawn shop or something.
Yeah, or it was like ground in metal or something.
I'd love to have that one back. And to Billy's point, I hate to sound materialistic, but it had an emotional attachment, much like the peacoat would have had,
Yes. When he said that, I go, well, if it's tangible, I wish my dad had given me, again, I think we both said, why did they give us stuff when we were too dumb? When I was in high school, I was really, I had still known not much about football, but I really wanted to learn because of the boys. And so I became a stat girl in high school for football.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah. And my dad was telling me all about rugby, and I was fascinated by it. And he goes, because he's from England, he goes, darling, American football is just rugby, except they put pads on. They're wimps, wankers.
Yeah.
Except he doesn't.
I love it.
So I had a rugby shirt of his. And he goes, would you like my rugby shirt? I loved this shirt.
Yeah.
And the colors were hideous.
It probably was like a dress on you, though, wasn't it?
It was a dress on me. And the colors were like a bee, yellow and black stripes, because you know how rugby is.
Yeah.
And I loved that thing. I would sleep in it to this day. I don't know if my mom chucked it because it was old, but I'm like,
that would be great.
I remember that time,
Yeah.
It was just so cool.
He's right about rugby, though. I've watched rugby before. I'm like, man, these guys are beating each other half to death, and they have no pads, no nothing.
And no teeth.
Yes. And they all kind of look the same. They got big square heads and big necks and... Yeah.
Oh, and the fans are even just as bad. I mean, just watch Ted Lasso. It's pretty close.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so that's, I think that there is, I'm not really somebody, and we've talked about this before. I'm not a materialistic person, never have been.
Yeah.
But that's why jewelry to me, I don't wear a lot of jewelry unless there's meaning to it, because it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I have a heart I wear because we work for iHeart, so that has meaning. Something that my mom had given me, other than that, I don't
Well, so
need
I'm
jewelry.
materialistic in a sentimental way. So a lot of my brothers and sisters, like for instance, when my grandma died on my mom's side, my grandma had all these wonderful little doilies and napkins and aprons and her do-rag from her garden that she had that I remembered, but they're really kind of like, it's just fabric, and my family really wasn't interested in. So now I have this big box of all of my grandma's linens, napkins, things she got from Europe, all that kind of thing.
Wow.
I actually thought about one time doing tapestries for my brothers and sisters that would comprise pieces of all these things to give to them.
So let me ask you something. So I'm totally into this because this is a memory. This is what this is about. Things, right? And have you opened it and smelled it?
Oh, yes.
I mean, that to me, a smell.
Oh,
to go,
yes.
Oh, that's grandma. And
Yeah.
you're there. You're in the moment. And when you think about it, we've talked about this, not on mic, I don't think, but it's all about you want to be present, live in a moment, memory, and feel that moment. And all of a sudden, you're there. That's time travel.
Yes. And I gave my daughter one of her aprons. It still had the stains on it.
Oh, I love that.
Because my mom is kind of like that. Like they don't like stains never bothered them on things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were just like everything. Every table had a nick or a cigarette burn in it. Every my mom's side, but every apron or something had a stain on it or something, and they never worried about it. Napkins, and. Those things still have little things from wine or juice or coffee or whatever
Still
on them.
on it.
That's still on them.
Every stain is a memory. I always say every scar, so is a stain. So then that begs a different question along the same lines. So smells. What does the smell take you back? There's a smell of a tree that smells like bleach, and it takes me back to 7th grade. And every time, and it's not everywhere. So I'll be in a place, and that tree, it's an awful odor. I hate it. And anybody who's listening, I can't remember the name of it. You either smell it and you hate it or you don't. It smells like bleach, beautiful white blossoms.
Yeah.
And it brings me back 7th grade. First day in junior high, we called it, not middle school, and not knowing anybody and being so scared. That smell.
Wow.
I mean, so vivid.
Aren't scents... wouldn't they be like the number one thing or one of the many things that stick with people? Like they can sometimes even smell it when it's not there.
It's called a phantom smell. It's happened to me.
That's crazy.
Really, I smelled banana bread. It's a long story.
Yeah.
But if you believe in that stuff, it's real.
I'd believe it.
So what is a scent? But think of it, I mean, I'm not going to give you it because...
Well, how do they last that long? Like for instance, it's amazing I could still kind of smell my grandma's kitchen and even my grandma, the scent of my grandma on linens that are 50 years old. That's incredible.
It is. So I think of my mom's brother, my Uncle Ben, who was much older than her. I was young when he passed, but he smoked a pipe. And it was a raspberry smell.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And whenever I smell that, he did fondue for the whole family. I hated it, I did. And I remember my mom going, "You have to eat it. Your Uncle Ben made it." I'm like, "I don't want it." But the pipe, that brings me back.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
That is really cool.
Yeah.
And that's great when you smell that. And people have those, what do they call them? The oral and the scent memories like that, visual and everything else.
If you smell gasoline when you're pumping, does that bring you back anything?
I remember actually one point where I loved so much the smell of gasoline that I could drink it.
You would love the smell.
I love the smell of gasoline.
Wait, go back because I was talking over you.
Well, just because I love this. It reminds me of my dad a lot because we traveled a lot and went by the filling stations all the time. And
I thought maybe you were a gearhead.
Not
they were
really.
sexy. Gearheads were sexy.
Oh, I worked on my 71 Impala a lot. I must have changed the water pump like 5 times. Never successful. Broke the engine block, and that was the end of my 1971 Impala.
We were a Mustang family for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Well, my brother, not my oldest, next to oldest brother was a gearhead. Still is, even though he doesn't do it for a living. And he can build a car from the ground up. And he had probably 5 Mustangs. I don't know.
Well, I'll give you something, too, that I don't want to bring the room down here, but I talk to people who are are kids of World War II veterans. Mm-hmm. And specifically 2 battles were distinctively related to weather, and one of them was D-Day, which was this misty, cold June
that's
swoon
what you see in
rain.
all the old pictures. Yeah.
And then the Battle of the Bulge, which was as freezing cold. But you know how when it snows, but it's not really snowing, but it's snowing, but the snowflakes are like these
Hard, icy.
They're kind of flying around.
Oh,
they're
the
not
fluffy
really
ones.
well. They're not big though, but they're kind of just flying around. But they're not landing anywhere.
Okay.
Everything else. So I was a couple times these. Sons and daughters, these veterans would say, yeah, whenever the weather got that way, like when it was misty and cold and rainy, and their dad was in D-Day, so they would go and stand at the window and just look out the window and not say a word.
Wow.
And similarly with the Battle of the Bulge, some November day, because it's always in November, some November day, it would be kind of bitterly cold, and you'd have these kind of snowflakes that weren't really landing, and the same thing happened. They'd go to the picture window and stand there. And because that was, well, my son who was in Iraq.
Right.
Whenever it's really
Hot or
super
something?
hot.
Right.
And just kind of the blazing sun, it reminds him of being in Iraq. It's not necessarily the worst memory in the world, but what they do is they stop down kind of mentally and just kind of take that in. Isn't that interesting?
That's and it's not surprising.
Yeah.
I mean, when big things, you're in big events. I've heard veterans fly 4th of July don't like the sound of the fireworks.
Yeah.
And you can't blame them.
Yeah.
And it is kind of weird if you think about the fact that we do that.
Yeah.
But that's my liberal. There's my liberal coming out.
Yes.
We knew it would come out.
And then there are certain seasonal markers, like right now, like I can't stand the sound of blue jays.
Oh,
and
I
they don't
agree.
always have a greatest sound anyway.
That's so weird.
But
that I
they always
agree.
reminded me of summer ending and going back to school.
Oh.
For some reason, blue jays come out
Now, I think-
around
no,
autumn, and they're loud and
So wait,
sorry.
now I got to look up California because I grew up in California.
Yeah.
When I hear birds tweet at all, I hate spring because that means fall and winter is over, and I'm not a spring summer girl. I hate it.
Oh, really?
I don't hate. You
hate
things.
anything, right?
But no, I don't hate things. It's just my favorite seasons are fall, not spring because then summer.
Yeah.
And so when I hear birds, I think it's spring.
Yeah.
Because that's, even though you hear birds year round in California, it's the swallows. I mean, I don't know. I thought they were all bluebirds.
It's interesting. You probably had like bluebirds. Is a bluebird a blue jay always? I don't know.
We had woodpeckers year round.
Yeah.
But they're year round.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just the tweetiness. I don't know.
I'm kind of glad, just as an aside, since we're kind of just riffing anyway.
Yeah.
It's interesting you said that when you use the word hate, because it's so interesting. Like I've used it before about hating something.
I'm trying to
but
get
it's
it out of my
such a
vocabulary.
strong word.
It is. It's worse
and
than the F word.
I think so too. And
Yeah.
you know what's interesting too? Conversely, I'll never forget when my grandma, she made these beautiful, wonderful rhubarb pies, and she made them without strawberries, right?
My dad would love her.
There was no, like they didn't, and I'm not saying it's cheating. If you all make rhubarb pies with
No, it's
strawberries, it's
rhubarb.
awesome. But she grew rhubarb and made these rhubarb pies,
Wow.
which are kind of adequately sour.
Isn't it a root, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one time we were at dinner. I'll never forget this because my grandma was very strict about things. Like you wouldn't put your elbows on the table.
Is this your dad's mom?
My mom's mom.
Okay.
Yeah. And so one time I told my grandma she made this rhubarb pie, and she said, I said, I love this pie. And she said, you can't love a thing. You can only love someone else. You cannot, or God, you cannot love a thing. And I've never forgotten that. So when people, like I've heard people say that food is like to die for, it always drives me crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm not a prude or anything. I'm not really one of those people.
Right.
But it just kind of like, it reminds me of my grandma.
Yeah.
When
saying this is.
Yeah.
So my sister was a lot like that, and she passed in December, but my sister would always, she was so eloquent with words, and she would say, I'd say something growing up, I go, oh my God, I hate this. And she goes, do you really hate? Is there another word you can use? Because she's older.
Yeah.
And I go, I don't, no. But I have been trying really hard to be
I know.
mindful and taking the words hate, but never, always out of a vocabulary and just stop.
Yeah.
And it's hard because, you're used to doing it.
Yeah.
Fire tar, everybody like. That's the other one I got to take out.
Yeah, I know. I'm like a grown ass man, and I still do that.
It came from where I'm from. I'm really sorry about that. I'm a Valley girl.
Yeah, right.
It all started in the 80s.
Yeah.
And late nights like all over the United States.
Well, the and but thing is true. When you're talking, it's a.
We had to learn it in broadcasting.
Yes.
And then they told us just to talk like normal people. So then I dropped learning it.
Yeah. Well, you mean when you're talking to somebody? Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. That's a real great social skill that you have to actually be mindful about all the time. Because when you talk to somebody and they say something and you say, but also, blah, 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 but the but part dismantles what they're saying,
right,
kind of doesn't validate what they're saying.
Exactly.
And the and part is even better,
Yeah, it is. I totally agree with that. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
So I've been working on it. And I've also been working on one thing. My co-host is a grammar police, and I have a lot of Judy-isms, he calls them, because I make up words that I think are real words. He didn't think adulation was a word. It is. Look it up. He goes, it's adoration. And I go, no, adulation's a word.
Adulation, yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay, I said it wrong.
Yeah, that's right.
I do that badly. But he is a grammar police, and so when I speak...
You said it the British way, though.
I did?
That's probably from your dad, yeah.
Maybe.
Adulation, yeah.
I grew up saying couleur, not knowing, even though that's more French, but that's what I thought until somebody made fun of me.
Yeah.
But then he's a grammar police when I say, and this is something that so many people do. They say, anyways...
Oh, I know.
And I go, okay, take this out, take that.
Yes.
So I'm aware of it. And he also taught me something, such a great lesson. Why didn't California teacher schools?
Yeah.
No offense. The I and the me. When to use the me, the I. He said, just use it as a single person. Would you say me went to the party? You'd say I went to the party.
Yeah,
So Jamie and I went to the party. You wouldn't
Right.
say Jamie and me. And I went, that's so simple.
Yeah.
Why didn't they teach me that?
Well, because also, there's a little thing you do with the babies, I remember, is patty cake, baker's man, make me a cake as fast as you can. Put it in the oven for baby and me.
What was that about?
That was about
Is that a recipe?
That's how when I put like lotion on the kids after their bath, I would just slap them around and go patty cake. They loved it. But the baby in me part, I guess, is grammatically incorrect. But that was the little nursery rhyme.
Well, yeah, it was a song. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
If you listen to rap music, which I do like.
The kids didn't correct me. They were only like 2.
They were like 2, yeah.
Daddy, it's baby and I, not baby and me.
Well, no, but they would now, maybe. I don't know. Be curious to see if somebody now that you have a new grandkid, like your dad, what your son says.
Poor overall. And the other thing that is crazy is nuclear, which drives me nuts.
How are you supposed to say it?
It's nuclear.
That's what I thought.
But people say nuclear. I go, there's not another U in there.
It's nuclear.
I remember when George W. Bush used to say nuclear. I'm like, I would always complain about it, and people would like get on me for being mean or something. I go, that's not being mean. There's no extra U in nuclear, right?
Well,
if you say it that way, it's nuclear.
But sometimes politicians do it on purpose. Like in Missouri, they'll purposely say Missouri
just to sound like
get that vote.
Yeah, nobody says that way.
Just be careful when you're listening.
And the other one is irregardless. There's no such word. Now, you can tell Billy there's no such word as irregardless. He probably doesn't use it. He probably already knows that. But because irregardless is like you're doubling up on the Latin part because it's regardless. There's no such as irregardless.
Say irregardless? Because it's a double. Yeah,
it is.
But we all say it.
Oh,
well, you don't.
But I'm just saying.
My sister wouldn't have. I'd say it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I also have a very difficult time saying aluminum there.
Aluminum.
I have to do it very slowly.
Oh, yeah. No, there are words sometimes that I don't
know how somebody learns
English. Even bother. So some words I don't even. There have been times where I had to get the I before E except after C down so often.
I still do that.
Oh, yeah.
I still do that. And then there's, of course, the exceptions.
Yes. And I mean, spell correct helps that a little bit, but not much.
Not much, no.
Like the iPhone just makes you sink or swim. It doesn't really change that. So.
No, but now we don't need it. We just have emojis. Do you know how to spell a happy face? No, just put an emoji.
Yeah, right, exactly.
It's the universal language.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, this was fun and food for thought.
Well, what's great is that in the comment section, I would hope that people would kind of join the conversation there and put their little things in there. Because I'm sure for every word we've talked about, the people who are listening probably have 10 words.
Yes, and if anybody has my Nintendo station play game thing, and it would be that color, like I want it.
Which one
I
is
lost
that?
it. I don't remember which edition, but if I went on eBay, I'd buy it. But I want mine.
Yeah.
It has J.O. on the back.
Where did it get to?
I don't know. My mom got rid of I had the Barbie. I had everything Barbie.
Yeah.
I had the Barbie airplane that folded.
Oh, yeah, the airplane.
Yes. I was very proud of that. And then it's gone.
Oh.
I know. So I'm going to collect more Barbies again. I love Barbie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know why sometimes people throw stuff away. I mean, I still have the kids' shoes from when they were like, 1.
But how many? I mean, I'm in a 1-bedroom condo. I can only keep so much. But it's the little things.
Well, and I guess essentially, why am I saving those? Because are my kids really going to want their shoes from when they were 3?
Yeah,
I don't know.
What I want always, and I think is a good thing, any parent maybe, or grandparent or somebody's listening, what would be amazing for any kid is to record yourself telling your life story.
Yeah.
That would be priceless.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wish I had a tape of the times when I would practice. I would read the newspaper into a boombox, practicing to be a newscaster because that's all I wanted to do. And I wish I could find those tapes. I don't know where they are. I don't think my mom threw them away. I just think they're somewhere.
You got to find them.
I know.
You got to find them.
I would read the newspaper into my boombox.
Wow.
And see how that sounded. I was reading newspaper copy, not broadcast copy, but still.
Still, it's copy.
Yeah.
I wish I had the reviews of my first play. That was in the newspaper, the LA Times.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In the LA Times?
Yeah. They had a little section, a theater section. It was a 99-seat equity waiver, but I had a nice part, and it was, I was actually still in high school. And
What part was it?
It was a little play. It's you've never heard about it. I'll have to find it because I don't want you to look it up without me finding it first, if I can even find it.
Yeah.
But and then there was another one where I did get I did it, and I think it was called Out of the Frying Pan, and I played a ditzy. No surprise. I'm not ditzy.
Are those on video by any chance too?
No, that's what I'm saying.
That's crazy.
If somebody did a video. There was one I did a dinner theater where. This character was so fun. I kept getting cast as like the really dumb one, and she had a really high voice. So, and somebody where they videotaped it, like the old, where is that? I want to see it. Granada Hills Dinner Theater. Look it up.
Wow.
Yeah, it's got to be there.
Good old fashioned dinner theater. They still do that these days?
They do, but now it's like a murder mystery or an escape room.
Right. Yeah,
Think about it. It'd be fun to do.
Yeah.
I do miss the boards.
Oh, dinner theater. And didn't that sometimes involve the audience?
Oh, yeah.
The dinner theater did?
Yeah, the theater in the round certainly could, which was fun. I mean, now, though, it's like, I don't know. I'd love to do a murder mystery and be part of that. But we get up at 4 a.m. to do shows. Theater people.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, no, I know. Yeah. I always fancied, I always thought, well, once I get out of theater, I'm going to, just do community theater someday. And then you get into radio or whatever, and you're like, well, wait, I can't do that.
Yeah, too much. People think we're on the air for 4 or 5 hours and that's it. No, that's the easy part.
Preparation.
Yep. And not
it's key and getting it together.
Yeah. I'm curious. I know we're curious about what is it? Bring something that you wish you had back.
Yeah.
And the other thing is a smell that brings you back.
Yeah.
I love this stuff.
Now, when you did the question on the Billy and Judy show, what did people say?
It ran from one guy who said that when he got divorced, his wife got rid of his motorcycle. He was pissed.
Oh, wow.
That was pretty good. And then a lot of sentimental stuff.
Yeah.
So somebody with a bike with a broken seat with their first bicycle. I mean, it's not, I'm not somebody who believes in necessarily having a lot.
Yeah.
But it's the stuff that you have has meaning. It's again, you're reliving that time with that ring of somebody's or whatever.
I save everything. I mean, I have
right too.
Yeah, so. But I have some of the stuff that fell from the ceiling. I want to call it graffiti.
Acoustic?
Is it graffiti? All the little things that fell from the ceiling during the 2008 convention with Obama. I was there, and I grabbed like a trash bag full of all the graffiti that fell.
Oh, wow.
Is it graffiti? What do you call that
I
stuff?
don't know what
I
you're
don't know.
talking about.
So I
thought you were
saved
going to say
everything.
the Berlin Wall or something.
I do have a piece of the Berlin Wall. I was one of the people who bought a piece of the Berlin Wall.
So I don't
Remember they sold those?
Yes. Here's
Yeah.
the thing. I don't think that's nuts. I don't. I think because I love. If you ever now you might think I'm nuts, but I have a thing about you feeling energy on buildings and feeling the history when you put your hand against a building that's 500 years old and you feel it. Try it. Don't think I'm crazy.
I mean, I have my parents' albums, and I just save
pictures. I have so many. I had to get rid of a lot of them and digitize them, which I know it's hard.
Yeah. I mean, Lily, my youngest daughter, and we would play golf, and she one time got her first, ball over a body of water, and I saved the ball that went over the body of water, and I'm going to make a little thing for her, with her picture on it and everything else. And so, it's just kind of
it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. I mean, I
save everything.
Yeah, I do, except when both the kids. So when my daughter went to Europe and then my son went to Boston, different state, both of them, Dad didn't want any of the stuff.
Yeah.
Take this crap out. I'm like, guys, I don't know what I could keep.
Yeah.
So the three of us we just for hours and hours went through, how do you really want this? So we went through every grade and what are the most important things? Because, you have boxes of got an A, got a B. So I would keep things like the report cards where somebody said about Leo, he's very social and he's very smart, but if he could just be a little less social, I'm laughing going, it's so
Of
him.
course.
That kind of stuff.
He's your son.
He's my baby, but So anyway,
That's
I digress.
Good. Yeah.
It's still, there's a life hack.
Well, and I have thought about it before, because I've heard those little memes that people post on Facebook, and I know you're collecting all your things, but when ultimately in your end, those don't mean anything, but people do, and I'm like, well, I don't.
But what if it reminds you of a person that's not there anymore?
I don't. Yeah, it's I don't not like people. I just like everything.
And it's connected.
Yeah.
You're a storyteller. I mean, that's you're a good writer, and that's part of it. So I totally agree with you. So and by the way, it's again, those memories bring you back. It's like you're time traveling back in time. So, but you can't keep everything. That's my problem.
I know.
If I could,
can't take it with you, as they say.
Well, not money. No, because unless you're buying a boat that has meaning.
Yeah.
But I don't need a boat.
Yeah, no.
And we digressed and went to look at that.
Look at that.
I said, this will be a 10-minute
Chock
podcast.
Full of craziness. I love it.
We hope you follow along. And you know what? Next, one of the shows coming up, I don't know when it is, we're going to talk about something. I can't say that. Can I tease it? Because this is something that could be played in. Okay, if you're
people
listening,
can look for it.
If somebody was listening in 2046 to the next podcast, it's history.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah. Well, so what did you say we're going to talk about?
DC and shadow work.
And young people.
Yes.
And how they are different than older people and why that is important.
In 2023.
Yes.
So if you're listening and you're 100 years from now, history, this is the real stuff because we're not faking it here. So you'll know
doubt.
It's not Bigfoot.
It's the real stuff.
Wait, they wouldn't even know Bigfoot.
The kids?
No, people 100 years, 200 years from now.
Oh, somebody will still be talking about Bigfoot.
So
I guarantee you.
Let's hope our planet is still around.
Oh, it will be. Don't you worry.
I know. Okay, so Allman Diamond, make sure you tell your friends. And if you want to put cease in caps on our YouTube page, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, what was that about?
I send my love.
Yeah. The thing is, that's what's weird is when somebody goes on the comment section and tells us to shut up.
Well, they didn't say shut up. They just said cease.
I know, but the great thing about is that cease is built into the equipment, so you can just push stop.
You know what I like about cease? If you scramble the words and you take out the C, you have ease.
Yes.
So I'm going to take the C, ease, out of cease. So I see the ease in his comment. Thank you.
And you take out the C.
And I see.
And put a P. Ease. And take out the S and put a C. It's peace.
Or have peas a chance.
Yeah, right.
So thank you. Comments all
yes,
accepted.
people.
We are very open to every comment, bad or good. Just follow us and subscribe.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
Thank you for being a part of the Allman Diamond experience. Got something to say? Leave your thoughts in the comment section. And if you'd like to cultivate more Allman Diamond experience, and we hope you do, please subscribe and tell your friends.
Hold on a minute before you close the door. Excuse my honesty, I'm probably a comedy, but it would be a tragedy if I never spoke this soliloquy. We could paint my bedroom with the color of your smile.